Sacco and Felice, New York and New Jersey's premier attorneys at law. Their team brings decades of experience across a wide range of practice areas. Whatever life brings, they're your legal team. From everyday matters to complex cases, they've got you covered with the experience you need and the results you want. Because when life gets complicated, they make it simple. SaccoFelice.com. SACCOFILLAS.com. 2 C's, 2 L's.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Attention Ditto Heads. Attention Bo Scouts.
Goes by the pseudonym Bo Snerdley.
It's time for the soul of excellence.
He is a radio host here in New York.
The Rush Hour is on the air.
Rush.
Now here's James Golden.
You would never guess that it is the busiest travel day on record here at ATL, but it is. Today is expected to surpass the previous single-day record of 111,000. That was back in May of 2024. Today, they're expecting 115,000 screenings. But the airport now better equipped to handle the crowds than it has been. TSA agents went unpaid for more than a month, and around 40% of them called out of work as a result. Now, following an executive order, they've been paid, and many of them have returned. The TSA also still here, getting help from ICE agents. We've seen them working the security lines this morning.
I mean, the expectation was, 60,000 jobs, and it's 178? Wow.
Yeah, look, the job market bounced back in a big way in March, and that is good news, really blowing away expectations.
We didn't get a loss in manufacturing jobs. We got a hit of 15,000 manufacturing jobs. Private sector jobs, get this, folks, 186,000. 186,000. The estimate was for 70,000.
All of those news reports coming today, my friends, on this Good Friday. Welcome to Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour, fastest hour in American media. It is Good Friday for those of you observant. I hope that you are solemnly enjoying the gratitude of the day. On this Easter weekend, so much news to report, some of it concerning matters. I do have other stories today that I hope I have a chance to share with you that are not front page news, but I find interesting nonetheless. Let us start with a story that I saw today. I promise you probably haven't seen this because it hasn't made national news from most of the legacy. I found it in a trade publication that I read that government workers subscribe to. And here is the headline of that article: Forest Service to move headquarters out of D.C., shutter regional offices in sweeping overhaul. The United States Forest Service, my friends, and I know you pay attention, those are the Smokey Bear people, well, USDA. The United States Forest Service is moving its headquarters out of Washington, D.C. They're moving out of Washington. So they knew to some of these other politicians from Washington. They're moving their headquarters out of Washington and closing dozens of facilities across the country in a move the agency said will streamline its work. But employees are cautioning that moving the Forest Service out of D.C. could lead to a mass exodus of staff. The Agriculture Department agency, it's part of the agriculture, is going to move about 260 employees to its new headquarters in Salt Lake City, Utah. And they're going to move another number of employees to be determined into regional offices. All in all, 2,600 employees will be shifted away from the capital into regional hubs around the country. This has been telegraphed ever since the Trump administration came back in. They said they wanted to move some of the bureaucracy out of Washington and closer to the people. For instance, the Forest Service. Are there huge forests that somewhere on the... I know that there are parks, that there are national parks. I know that there are also places where there is land, federal government land, state land, that is forested. But when you think of huge forest, do you think of huge forest anywhere in Washington, D.C.? Do you think of huge forest anywhere up and down on the East Coast in the heavily trafficked centers from the East Coast? New York City, huge forest? Washington, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Washington. No. Yet there are 2,600 employees sitting in Washington, D.C., managing the forest, where there are no forests. Now, Government Executive reports this. Employees of the USDA have experienced various stages of grief upon learning the news, according to those who spoke to Government Executive, on the condition of anonymity. Reactions range from crying to anger to silence, one Midwest-based employee said after the announcement. Washington-based employees will receive information about timelines for relocation in coming days and weeks. But some of these people, 2,600, managing forests, some of them are going to be moved out of the capital, and there is gnashing of teeth, there is crying and upset because their work is going to move them closer to where there are forests for them to manage. You heard the two soundbites we played, I'm assuming, at the top of the show regarding the jobs report. There is a longer one that I would like to play from Nancy Lazar. She's an executive, a global economic executive, and she was on Fox Business, I believe, and she was talking about this job report and what it means. That's cut 6. Carlos, let's take a listen to that, please. Nancy Lazar on Fox Business.
What's encouraging in this report, and it was echoed earlier this week with the ISM and in construction spending in general, we are getting goods-producing jobs back. So what excites me about going forward is that we're going to get more blue-collar jobs, which we have needed more because obviously we have a very, very diverse population, and not everybody wants to go to college, can go to college, and so we need these trade jobs, and they are coming back. You're seeing that obviously in manufacturing again this month. We saw it, as I mentioned, in the ISM. We're not only building data centers, we are also building new factories, and so that's going to be positive for construction jobs. So no question, up until more recently, the labor market's been lopsided toward the service sector, but that's where we've been. The question is, where are we going? And I think we are going to see more and more of these goods-producing jobs, which, by the way, are good-paying jobs. And so I'm excited about, Stephen mentions the weakness in the labor force participation. I've been watching the prime age labor force participation. And so what you've seen is, as you're starting to see more sectors of the job market increase employment, you're seeing the prime age labor force participation grind higher. I did not see what it did in the March report, but it's been in a rising trend. It is historically high. So no question we may have an issue with overall labor force, but prime age is encouragingly been on a rising trend because we are broadening out the labor market. So I would say focus a little bit more on goods-producing jobs, construction and manufacturing. And also in this report, we saw an increase in temp employment. And that is such a reliable kind of good coincident indicator that companies initially, as they get more optimistic, hire people in the temp area. And so that also is in a rising trend. So I would look at this report as the glass is half full.
Okay, well, no, and I'm glad that you said that. And by the way, I can answer your question, Nancy. 61.9 was labor force participation, so that number did come in. Again, it's a stronger number.
So there you go. All in all, the jobs report, my friend, good news. I want to quickly shift. Jamie Dimon, we have two things from him, I think. I'll hold another one for tomorrow. Jamie Dimon has been talking. He did an interview, and I'll have to remember where it was a little bit. On the real estate, people leaving New York, people in New York, and I'm going to tell you what I'm going to play right afterwards. There's a journalist that does his own, internet show called Nate Friedman, and he did a man on the street with a New York City school teacher. First, I want to listen to Jamie Dimon, and then I want you to listen to a person that is teaching children in New York both things about the economy in New York and taxes cut 8, Jamie Dimon.
Why are you buying more real estate in Mondani's Manhattan right now?
Well, he wasn't the mayor when we started building that building 5 years ago. But here's a lesson, and this lesson is true for companies, cities, states, and countries. You got to compete. There's no divine right to success. Just read the history books. So our headcount in Manhattan, when I got to J.P. Morgan, was 35,000, and now it's 26,000. Our headcount in Texas, it started at 11,000, now it's 33,000. That's what happens. And, part of it's the highest individual taxes, highest estate taxes, highest corporate taxes, anti-business sentiment, and that's what happens. And, you could be any ideologue you want, but that's the real world. And people vote with their feet, and you can't get mad at them. If you believe in a free country, if someone wants to move to Florida, that's their right. And so, if they make too many mistakes, the mayors, including Mayor Mondani, should worry about police, hospitals, subways, sanitation, storms, healthcare, schools. It's got nothing to do with Democrats or Republicans, and ideology distorts reality when it comes to something like that. So, but our building's great. We're still there. It's got some of the best people. But I think when I grew up as a kid in New York City, and you probably don't know this, there were 120 of the Fortune 500 were headquarters there. In the 1970s, 60 of the 120 left, including Exxon, GE, IBM, Union Carbide. I mean, that's not what you want. And they're all going to Texas, basically, or Nevada.
Okay. And why are they leaving? You heard him talk about it. The taxes, the anti-business sentiment, all of it. Now let's turn to this internet journalist I spoke of earlier, who's conducting a man-on-the-street interview with a New York City school teacher who is unnamed. That's cut 9. And here is that interview.
What do you say to these folks who say, well, if you tax millionaires, they're going to leave the city, and the top 1% pays 40% of the taxes in the city, so what happens if they leave? What's your response?
Well, that's what I would say. It's like we should take their business, and we run it like for the city ourselves.
So if they take their business to Florida, you feel like you can keep it here?
I mean, they can't leave the building. They can't just bring their whole entire workforce to Florida, right? They can't bring all of the resources that they have to build the business here to Florida, right? That's a whole thing. And that's where we would even say, if we're building a real movement, right, to stop that, we'd also make it illegal for them to actually leave, right? We would fine them to hell if they're going to try to abandon their property here, right? Because clearly people do need to work, right? People do need to make a living.
So that's Charles Berry, and while that might have been one of the craziest things
I've ever heard. Okay, so that is a school teacher, and he did mention his name. I didn't want to embarrass the guy. So we take their business they can't take all the things this guy's a school teacher. They can't take all the resources that they use to build their business and take them. They can't leave the building with yes, they can. They can completely move. And you can't make it illegal for people to move. You can punish them like some blue states are now trying to do, punish people that leave, but ultimately you can't stop people from leaving. We should just take their business. We should just take their business and, like, run their business.
What are you going to pay that guy?
We'll just take your business. I mean, this is one of the most idiotic things. I'm not calling him a name. I'm saying it's one of the most idiotic things I've ever heard in my life. We'll just take their business and run their business. Like they can't leave. Yes, they can. And not only can they are leaving. He teaches school. It's a scary thought. This man teaches school. James Golden Snerdley, it's now, and keep it right here.
Rush. This is The Rush Hour with James Golden.
Bo Snerdley.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network. Let Century Management Solutions get you to your next medical appointment. They specialize in non-emergency medical transportation, connecting patients to care, safety, reliability, and on time. Their advanced technology platform seamlessly coordinates patients, healthcare providers, insurers, and transportation partners all in one powerful network. With over 200 trusted transportation providers, they deliver scalable solutions backed by real-time tracking and complete transparency. Go to SENTRYMS.com.
James Golden, known popularly as Bo Snerdley.
This is The Rush Hour with James Golden.
Rush.
Oh, I think this is just marvelous. You know, they're already putting together the next budget. They're not through fighting over the last one yet. In the next budget, President Trump is seeking 152 million buckaroonies so that he can rebuild Alcatraz. Now, we knew that he wanted to rebuild Alcatraz. Now he's put the number on it. They want $152 million to rebuild Alcatraz, which I say money well spent. Get on with it. In fact, you can just take that 152 from the money that will be saved from the fraud in California and pay for the whole thing. Because every day we're learning more and more millions in fraud have been spent. Gavin Newsom keeps trying to blame everybody but himself. We're going to talk about that later, hopefully, too. And if we don't get to it today, God willing, here tomorrow, we'll talk about it then. But also, you know, it says Alcatraz is, the article's in The Hill today, the most expensive prison. It was too expensive to operate, which is why they said they closed it. And so you're going to need an operating budget on top of that. I hope that I really want them to open up Alcatraz again and make it the Max. Make it Super Max. Make it Super Max. The most max, Super Max of all the Super Maxes, Alcatraz. And I have a few suggestions as to who you might want to send over there for a visit. Anyway, stay there. Don't go away. We'll be back.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
James Golden, known popularly as Bo Snerdley.
This is The Rush Hour with James Golden.
Rush.
James Golden and Snerdley, and then we got on the Eddie Murphy thing, and Carlos mentioned Shrek, and I had forgotten, of course. You say Shrek is what now? What now?
Shrek is they're releasing their 5th movie coming up in 2027.
Oh, this thing is still going on with this Shrek thing.
Yes, it is.
And TJ Sharp, they're all like, oh yeah. Shrek, best animated movie, best this, that. Shrek. I think I saw parts of the one. Isn't the thing that he's with like this woman monster and he's like not the...
They're called augurs, but yes.
Uh-huh. And then you said, and Antonio Banderas?
Antonio Banderas is voicing the cat, and Eddie Murphy is voicing the donkey.
And I see again, I'm lost because I don't even remember the storyline. So you got cats, you got donkeys. So Eddie's the ass, and Antonio's the puss in boots. Well, I'm just saying, isn't that what his character is named? Puss in Boots. And so you have Eddie Murphy's the donkey, the ass, and which is what a donkey is. It's that. And then you have the other one.
And then you have Cameron Diaz as the female ogre.
Really? And
the most surprising for me, you have Julie Andrews as Cameron Diaz's mom.
Julie Andrews is in it. Julie Andrews from Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious?
Yeah, the same. Mary Poppins.
Julie Andrews is still kicking it? Oh, man, that's
the second
great.
movie came like 15 years ago, but yeah.
That is, wow. Yeah, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Something, somebody has halitosis. Or something like that.
Yeah, I like the Sound of Music a little bit better.
The Sound of Music, yeah. Okay, so back to it's folks, it's Friday, so please excuse. But I had to catch up on this because I don't follow. But you said Shrek was the best animated movie ever made.
He's the best animated movie.
The best. And I asked this question, and then I got roundly from both sides, Carlos on one side and TJ on the other. I said, well, have you seen The Incredibles? And they're like, yeah, but The Incredibles. I thought The Incredibles, I don't watch animated movies that much, but I saw The Incredibles, and I said, man, this movie is really good. But I don't watch those animated shows. I didn't do the toy movie with the cowboy thing and the... Oh, there is one movie that I saw. Now you're just triggering me. I saw a movie that was it was about food. It was called, what's the name of this? Sausage Party or something like.
Where they're like, okay, yeah.
That movie, a friend of mine took me to see that movie. She's like a goddaughter, and she said, God, Daddy, let's go to the movies. This was way back when that thing was out. So my goddaughter, it's like, I don't really want to go to movies anyway, but my goddaughter was visiting. She's like, can we go to the movies? So she said, what do you want to go see? Let's go see Sausage Party. I'm saying to I rolled my eyes. I'm like, what a sausage party? What the hell is this? I get in the movie theater and I couldn't, between laughter and disgust at the whole thing. It was like a wave of laughter, followed by a wave of disgust, followed by more waves of laughter. And that movie, I was like, yeah, I don't know whether I would recommend that movie to any. If you haven't seen, folks, especially those of you who have clean moral upbringings, that's not a movie you want to put on the top of your list. Okay. When is this Shrek thing coming out?
2027, I think.
Next year? Gotta wait a whole year for it? Okay. All right. So, I have another friend, who sent me a text. I'm looking for it now as I speak. Okay. He said this. We were texting each other about Pam Bondi, and he happens to know Pam very well. He's a friend of Pam's. And he said, mark my words. A lot of liberal women who've been ripping Pam for the last couple of years are now going to call Trump a racist and a chauvinist and a misogynist for firing a woman. Mark my words. That's what he sent to me within hours of the announcement that Pam Bondi had been removed from her job. Cut 15. This is Hope Walls, the daughter of Timmy Walls, former vice presidential candidate. That's who it is. Cut 15, and this is Miss Hope Walls.
It is no surprise that the high-profile firings in the Trump administration are not Pete Hegseth or Kash Patel, but instead Kristi Noem or Pam Bondi. And I don't even think I need to say why that is, but I will, because that's what this video is about. They're women. They are women, and these mega women think that they're the exception. They think they're different. They think they'll be accepted by these men. But at the end of the day, they're the ones that take the fall, that take the blame, that get fired from their jobs for, not doing what the president wants, even though it's everybody, right? Yeah. I don't feel bad for them whatsoever. They knew what they were getting into. But they always assume they're the exception. And you know what? They're not, because they're women at the end of the day. And that is the most important thing to these people. So take this as a learning opportunity, mega women. Don't associate with these people. They will throw you under the bus the second things get tough. At the expense, your expense, and everyone else is going to be just fine. But you will be the one getting over.
So, there you have it. Pam Bondi and Kristi Noem were let go just because they're women. And Trey, you were right. Anyway, speaking of liberals and TDS, we have another installment of James Carville. Cut number 1. The man that Rush used to refer to as Serpent Head. James Carville has his prognostications on the midterms. Here, ladies and gentlemen, for your listening pleasure, is Mr. Carville.
Listen to me, Trump. I'm going to tell you fat ass something. You're getting ready to get the living crap kicked out of you. You don't know because they haven't really told you. And let me tell you something. They're gonna start breaking the news to you kind of gently, and you're going to sit there and wonder what it feels like to be punched in the mouth by Mike Tyson. But you won't know, because it's quite one thing to imagine what it's like to get punched in the mouth by Mike Tyson. It's another thing to actually get punched in the mouth by Mike Tyson, and that's what's going to happen to you in November. Now, let's talk about your future, your post-November future. First, people are not going to return your phone calls. They're going to correctly think you yesterday. Yeah, they'll say, well, he's got 2 years left. He can do damage. No one gives a shit about him. The Democrats are going to investigate you to no end. I would like to introduce you to Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, D. Rhode Island. Because it is a lot of people's view. By the way, and Congressman Jeffers and Senator Schumer, they're going to go down to the White House on November 10th, and then you're going to have some stiff photo of them sitting there talking about collegiality and cooperation. Believe that bullshit. Then they're going to start going after you. Then they're going to start figuring out where all the money stolen is. Then they're going to go after you stupid jack kids and their spouses and all the other bullshit you see. And they're going to investigate out of you. And then when it comes to this stuff you're doing in Iran, I got to tell you, you're getting really, really, really close to war crimes here. You're probably going to cross the line. And the one thing that Democrats are going to insist on in the 2028 election is that if you're indicted by the international courts, and I think it's in The Hague or Hague or somewhere in the Netherlands, we're going to protect your ass. We're not going to protect you. Understand that.
If you get indicted by The Hague, by the people in the Netherlands, we ain't going to protect. Hey, James, do you see what he's doing? Did you see what he did? And I'm not laughing about it because I don't laugh at death, even in war, even with people like this. But anybody looking that has seen what has taken place in the last 4 weeks, do you think that anybody's going to be intimidated by a bunch of self-righteous leftists sitting over at The Hague in the Netherlands? Are you serious? Oh, man, James Carville's got it bad. Bad. Before we leave today, I want to play this again. Friday, I'm just doing stuff that I wouldn't normally get to. I saw a report from a local Fox station in Los Angeles, California, where a mayor's race is underway right now. I just want you to just visualize what you're hearing. This post office is a huge complex. It looks to be not quite the size of the big post office in New York, but it's a big post office in downtown. This isn't in some rural suburb somewhere. This is downtown in the heart of the city in Los Angeles at a post office, and that's where this cut 3, that's where this report comes from, and try to visualize the things that you're hearing.
Only on Fox 11 tonight, a U.S. post office overwhelmed by trash and homeless encampments. Fox 11's Matthew Seedorf with more.
It's unbelievable that this post office is even open. Customers maneuvering around trash and homeless encampments. The image is shocking. So this is the entrance to the post office right here. Disturbing conditions right outside this downtown LA post office, somehow still open, surrounded by trash. Mounds of garbage flooding the parking lot, old TVs, stripped copper wire, and rats. You know what it's like out here?
Girls and no work.
Some people living here for years, others months.
You don't know who you're talking to. You can't trust anybody, really.
Is it safe?
No.
Ariana Montero inviting us into her encampment. Inside a dog, shelves, a fan, even a refrigerator.
It's not even done yet.
How do you guys get power?
One of the lights from the electricity.
Yeah, obviously, this is a post office.
Honestly, we're blessed that they haven't said anything.
Right across the street is one of the busiest fire stations in the city of LA. They say 80% of their calls are related to the homeless. Do you worry about your safety?
It's crazy, yeah. Yo soy de Guatemala.
This group from Guatemala. They say help from the city has been hard to find. I see that, Aida?
No. No, ahorita no.
In a statement to Fox 11, Councilwoman Eunice Hernandez says they've been monitoring the area with outreach and a cleanup planned next week.
I've been sleeping at bus stops. I've been chased by men.
But encampments and trash remain outside the post office, where some say they want help.
I'll jump on it in just a second.
And they haven't done that?
No, not over here.
The councilwoman says they're going to be out here as early as next week, clearing it all up and offering resources. Reporting in Westlake, Matthew Seedorf, Fox 11 News.
When I tell you that place, folks, looks like somewhere out of the third world, it's the worst of the slums of a third world nation in downtown LA. Been there for years. Woman with a refrigerator in her tent. James Golden Snerdley, it's now, and keep it right here.
Rush. This is The Rush Hour with James Golden.
Bo Snerdley.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
It's The Rush Hour with James Golden.
Goes by the pseudonym Bo Snerdley.
Rush. Now, here's James Golden.
Wow. Oh, man, this is one of the most loved of all the Temptation songs. 1971, on this day, the Temptations had their second number one hit. Considered to be one of the signature songs for the Temptations. Also, it was the final single where Eddie Kendricks and Paul Williams were featured. Paul, of course, committed suicide later. Eddie left the group. David had already left the group, so the big change was on the way from the original 5 Temptations. But this turned out to be one of their biggest hits ever. In 1971, beautiful. Temptations at their best. We have to go, folks. May God bless, protect each and every single one of you, your family, your loved ones. Love and gratitude for you being here with me, allowing me to be with you. God willing, we'll be back early in the morning. 7 a.m. Eastern Time for the Saturday morning extravaganza, the Saturday morning vibe. In the meantime, acknowledging once again those of you worshiping on this Good Friday, 2026, Easter weekend. I bid you adieu. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. You can hear Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour weekdays at 4 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
Listen to this podcast now
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Why is the middle class shrinking? Why are people facing an affordability crisis while marginalized individuals called informals grow in numbers? Join me as I travel the world, speaking with people living in invisibility, the leaders working to solve it, and uncovering the hard truths shaping our economy and daily reality.
Download all of Red Apple Media's podcasts right now through your favorite podcast platform.